Hello, Power fans, it's Mathonical, and you are joining me for another game with some inside mill out. Our opening hand, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't play a lot of blue decks, so keeping a one-land hand and depending on Brainstorms and Ponders is not my ideal way to play Magic, but this would be a very good hand if we're against a slower opponent, or like a slower matchup, possibly some Boros or Orzhov, so we're going to go ahead and keep this. We have a very high likelihood of drawing lands, so let's get into it. Based on that land alone, we're already pretty happy. It's very likely that our opponent is on Boros, so we're going to go ahead and cast a Brainstorm, especially like because we drew this Evolving Wilds, it'll really allow us to fix our hand. And here we do want the land drops. Everything here is amazing, so we're going to go ahead and get these Ethereal Hazes. It's possible that we're against Kadoltha Boros, but we can always find another Haze or some other fog effect at some point in the future. And if we're against just the Boros Monarch, we don't need that many fogs, so we're just going to go ahead and get rid of some of those now. We're going to go ahead, use the Muddle. We want to get this Erasure online as soon as possible. We want to start our turbo fogging. Our opponent plays a Therian Inspector. We're cool with that. Glint Hawk, a little less cool with that. We don't want to be taking a ton of damage, but we're just going to stick to our plan. Play this Jace's Erasure, and here we're going to Brainstorm. We ended up putting back a Ponder and a Preordain. Let me know in the comment section below if you think that that should be a little bit different. But the reason why I put those back is I decided I really do want all of these cards. Evolving Wilds will allow us to shuffle to get new cards next turn, but between the Brainstorm and the Whirlpool Rider completely resetting our hand, I would like as many unique effects as possible, so I want the one Dispel, one Haze, and we're going to try this. So we're going to mill our opponent a little bit. Let's maybe see what they're on. And the Palace Sentinel means they are likely on the Boros Monarch, so we can be a little bit more liberal with our life total. We don't have to worry about getting kind of punked out by a Rally the Peasants. So we're going to shuffle away the two cards on top of our library, and here we draw a Gush. So we're going to go ahead and cast this Brainstorm. Here we only want to keep the one Haze. Next turn, we're very likely going to use that just to kind of pad our life total a little bit. We don't want to get burned out, so we got to be careful about going too low. We don't need two of those effects, though, so we're going to get rid of a Silence. And I think we're also going to get rid of the Dispel, simply because we're just going to use the Haze as if it was a better Dispel at the moment by countering 5 damage. And everything else in our hand is fantastic, so we're just going to do that. We do want to cast this Preordain after getting those cards off the top of our library. We really want to find a second Erasure, so both of these cards are going to the bottom. Land, alright, that's fine. Going back to our opponent's turn, we're expecting them to attack out with everything, except when they only attack with those two creatures, that screams Battle Screech, and they want to flash it back, so we're going to let that happen. We're not going to use Haze, and instead we're just going to cycle this Ash Barrens, just to kind of thin out our deck a little bit. We've already gone through 3 Brainstorms, so the shuffling effects are getting less important to hold on to. So here we are. Augur of Bolas gives us a different thing to do with our mana this turn, so we're going to play that. Gush and Dawn Charm. I'm going to take that Dawn Charm. It serves multiple purposes, and now that they have a pretty big board state, just having an extra fog effect will actually buy us an additional turn to keep searching for that second Erasure. Since given our hand with double Gush and a Rider, a second Erasure is essentially game over, so we're going to go ahead and go that route. Oh, our opponent bolts the Augur of Bolas. I think that is a bit of a misplay. It's much better going at her face, but that's fine. They're going to attack in. We'll Dawn Charm, fog that entire turn. And they're drawing additional cards. That is fantastic for us. They are definitely digging for additional burn, as they should be. But they didn't, like, they're also reducing their clock, so that's fine. So let's see, we're going to Gush here. We're really looking for that second Erasure. We didn't find it, but we did find a Muddle, so we're going to use that Muddle to go ahead and dig out an Erasure. We're going to play that Erasure, and we're looking, like, here, we have to be careful, essentially. We could just play another Gush, play the Whirlpool Rider, but unfortunately, if the math serves me right, it's going to be like 2, 4, 6, 8 times 2. It's going to be 16. +4, it's not going to be nearly enough. So we definitely want to wait. We've got plenty of these ways of just fogging it out, so we have to definitely fog a couple turns and wait for this to actually be a kill. So we're going to go ahead and use a moment of silence here, just prevent them from attacking, encourage them to spend their mana casting some more battle screeches, which indeed they do. We don't really care about how many creatures they have at this point. We are just going to be fogging every turn until we win, or at least that is the game plan. So let's see what we draw. Preordain, that's great. It allows us to go ahead and mill them out a couple more cards. Nothing useful there, both to the bottom. Angelsong, since we already have 2 other fog effects, we're going to go ahead and cycle that. After, of course, casting Gush, because if we draw something useful, we could just win on the spot. We drew another Preordain, so sure, we're going to cast that Preordain. Nothing that we're looking for. And a land. So here, once again, we're at 2, 4, 6, 8 times 2, 16. They'd be at 1, so they'd lose at the beginning of their end step when they draw for the Monarch, but that is not a sure enough victory for me, so we're not going to go for that. We will cycle the Angelsong. And here, if we wanted to play the land and then cast the Whirlpool Rider, once again, we're just going to be 1 card short, so we're not going to go for the win. We have the win lined up next turn, so we're just going to go ahead, discard a card, it's fine. They're going to attack, we're going to use our Haze. And this is all fine, this is all going according to plan. So now they're at 11, so we're just going to be able to cast a Whirlpool Rider, mill them out for 12, and win the game. In my opinion, it's much better to go for the sure win. We have the fogs to, like, we could have cast Whirlpool Rider anytime and hoped for some additional draw effects, but just go for the sure win. The only thing scary about Boros is giving them extra turns is how many different bolt effects they have, and it turns out their 3 Galvanic Blasts are at the bottom of their library, so a little unlucky for our opponent, and we did manage to take game 1. Jumping on over to game number 2, we're going to be expecting them to bring in various enchantment hates. So once again, I did forget to take that screenshot, but we're actually going to take out the entire Turbo Mill package and most of the fog effects. The same kind of plan as against Burn. We just want to come in with the tribes now that they're going to be removing their journeys and things like that. The tribe will be very good against their burn spells, and this will leave any of the core sanctifiers or various other enchantment removals dead in their hand. So we're going to go with this plan. It also means they're going to be taking out all of their various protection effects. So yeah, let's go with that. Our opening hand is reasonable. We do have this Circular Logic and Rift, which are nice. We got a Preordain to dig. A little land heavy, but that's going to be fine. We do have lots of Brainstorm, so we're going to go ahead and keep that. Our opponent also did mulligan, so that's fine as well. Dispel, extra protection, and here we did find cards that we like. We found a... Well, we didn't actually... So they are cards we like if we're going for the mill plan, but since we aren't going for the mill plan, I actually ended up putting both to the bottom. We just want a tribe. It's always difficult switching between the 2 modes. Here, drawing the Augur of Bolas is a really nice pickup. So when we play it, let's see what we get. Gush, yeah, it's a great card. We're going to take that. We still would really like to find a tribe, of course, as every tribe player would. Another Gush is fine. We're just going to hold up counter magic here. They don't actually play anything that we want to counter, so that's fine. Tribe, perfect. It's always great being a little bit lucky. And here we've got multiple effects to protect ourselves with Dispel and Circular Logic. We just need to find a way, the inside out, to actually win from this point. Here, our opponent attacked with both creatures, so if we have an inside out, we're looking pretty good. Here I had to think, because with this Muddle the Mixture, we do have enough mana to use it, looking for the inside out, cast the inside out in the tribe and go for it. Unfortunately, with that 1 red up and looking for a second red, chances are they're going to have some kind of burn effect. Even though they're not prepared for Tribe, there's no way they took out all their Lightning Bolts and Galvanic Blasts, so this is not a spot I want to go for the win. So I am going to cycle one of these Shadow Rifts, because we still could win if we draw the Inside Out, which we didn't. So now we're just going to use this Muddle the Mixture. We're going to transmute for the Inside Out, hold up 1 mana for counter, and just go for it next turn. So we'll get in for the 2 damage, putting them back down to 21, so that way 1 attack with 5 discards will win. I considered countering that, but there's no need to. Let's just keep all the cards in our hand. Chance of them having 2 effects here to win is unlikely, so here they go for the Pyroblast, but we're just going to be able to counter that, no problem. So we're just going to use the Dispel. Circular Logic can take care of more things, and then we're going to use the Inside Out, discard 5 cards, and win the game. So of course our opponent is going to bring in the Pyroblasts, regardless of which side we're playing, but it's a lot easier to play around Pyroblasts than lots of Journeys and various removals. So yeah, there we go. We managed to win 2 games against Boros. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.